The chart of the day is brought to you by Crypto.com, the world's fastest growing crypto app.
So for today's chart of the day, we've just lifted one from the CoinDesk research team who put out their quarterly report yesterday. And this tells us that, like, even though things are a little quieter in markets as we've seen of late, it's worth remembering that it was a very busy quarter. And we see this here in open interest in the futures market, because back in May, right there in the middle, when Elon Musk was, getting everybody very nervous about the slide in Bitcoin, you saw a lot of volume there as people were presumably, changing out positions in the futures market. But at the same time, the open interest, that yellow line heading down there, that has consistently drifted down, which brings us to this rather quieter moment that we're currently in now. So joining me to discuss that, the markets, and top stories from the Bitcoin world is our Week in Review panel, CoinDesk Managing Editor of Technology, Christie Harkin, in Toronto, and Managing Editor of Markets, Brad Keoun, in Austin. Hello to you both.
Hi, Michael.
Hey, Michael.
Hey, guys. So, Brad, it was a pretty lively quarter last quarter, but this time around, sort of dog days of summer, we're a little range bound, right?
It sure looks like it. We've come off that big high that we had a couple months ago, and for the past 6 to probably 7 weeks now, we've been stuck in this $30,000 to $40,000 range, and a lot of negative news that has pushed prices down, but also just kind of technical charts saying that this is the range we're in. It looks like there's buyers at $30,000. But not a lot of momentum above that. So we even had a story just out by our star reporter, Omkar Godbole, who covers the Bitcoin options market. And he was talking about these special trade called strangles, where basically you use options trades to bet that, there will be very low volatility in the Bitcoin market. And that's just, there's like nothing else going on but to bet on nothing happening really in the Bitcoin market.
Make money from nothing happening. There's always options traders are so creative like that. I love the way they do that. But there's actually been quite a bit of news still, right? I mean, it's not as if there isn't stuff to talk about. And Senator Elizabeth Warren this week, who chairs the Senate Banking Committee's subcommittee on economic policy regulations, she sort of put something of an ultimatum, it sounded almost like, to Gary Gensler, the chair of the SEC.
I was just reading this letter, and Elizabeth Warren, if you kind of go back and look at her track record, her background, she has her rooting in consumer protection, going back to Harvard Law, and then after the financial crisis, when it really was the driver behind the creation of the new Consumer Financial Protection Bureau. And if you read this letter, it really is in the spirit of consumer protection. Even aside from, whether you think crypto or Bitcoin is the future of money, she's really talking about, people getting hurt trading cryptocurrencies and people falling victim to scams. So that's what the letter is. On the other hand, kind of stepping back in the context of other things she said, she's definitely a crypto skeptic. And it's hard, not to read this letter as just, another letter from Elizabeth Warren, maybe trying to slow down crypto.
Yeah, she's obviously trying to get some clarity, right? It's fair to say there is a lack of clarity around what's going to happen with regard to the SEC's position on exchanges. But Christie, one of our contributors, Murtaza Hussain, has written a nice piece, and he calls it Elizabeth Warren's blind spot, thinks that she's really missing an opportunity here.
Yeah, and he's got a point that I think she is missing an opportunity in that she has been all about consumer protection, but also about social justice. And there is a lot of social justice in the Bitcoin narrative right from its very roots. And I think I think that she's missed out on latching onto that potential. And I think that, on the other hand, I think that Bitcoin also has an Elizabeth Warren blind spot. Bitcoin is in itself rooted in libertarianism, and there's a lot of disdain for left-leaning politicians in the Bitcoin space. And I think that rather than engage with her in a creative way, I think there has been a lot of just sort of knee-jerk, oh, lefties don't like this and lefties want to socialize everything. And I think that there is a missed opportunity in Bitcoin to reach out to that left side and be very focused on the narrative of, guns and beef and the let's all be free, without really talking to each other. And I think that is an opportunity missed. And I think that having a strictly mainstream narrative being poured into many politicians' ears and eyeballs, and not supporting the potential for Bitcoin to do really good things around the world, I think we're all missing out on an opportunity for some meaningful conversation, because she really should be on our side.
Yeah, I couldn't agree with you more. It does. She seems like somebody who, if she thought this through from her days as going after the banks, that this would be a chance for her to weigh in on this. In other news,
on the other hand, I would say, just stepping back, it's a good reminder that not everybody agrees with, the sort of that crypto represents, whether freedom, you believe it's inevitable, whether it's good or bad, people may have different opinions. But it's also, absolutely. Michael, you've talked to Ray Dalio a lot recently, and this is kind of exactly what he was saying, right? Was crypto really starts to get big, people start to come down on it.
But yeah, it does feel as if she did seem like there's part of a coordinated attack, which is interesting, right? Is what is the actual bigger picture here? But Christie, why don't we move on here? Square saying that they're coming out with a hardware wallet. I think we actually heard it from Jack Dorsey himself.
Yeah. So what I'm really excited about with this is the fact that so about a month ago, Jack came out with this long Twitter thread, something like 12 tweets long, where he talked about the need to address big problems like making custody and key management easy and secure for everyday users, and creating easy to manage interfaces and offering recovery solutions. And he also, when he put that out, he said, Bitcoin's for everyone. It's important to us to build an inclusive product that brings a non-custodial solution to the global market. And he asked for help in doing this. And he's been listening to how the Bitcoin community wants to approach this. And it wasn't, so far, we're now learning this wasn't just empty. He's actually putting together a team. So the company has begun to assemble this team to handle the project. And it's emphasizing that it's very much in the drawing board stage, but it is a step forward. And so what is exciting about this, to me at least, is that Jack Dorsey is very pro-Bitcoin. He hit a chord last month with the Twitter thread asking for help, and he's a big name in it. So when you have somebody like Jack Dorsey who has this mini manifesto, trying to move things forward, that's I think a really good signal for Bitcoin. Bitcoin moves slowly, and the fact that these are long-standing pain points that we still haven't addressed 12 years later is proof of the fact that it moves slowly. So to have somebody with the clout and the resources of Jack Dorsey getting serious about tackling some of those problems, I think is a really positive thing.
Yeah.